Yes! 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 Yes!
We are finally getting a glimpse into how special this show can be. It's campy, it's fun, it has a kooky teacher. So let's get going. Our cold open has zero Zach intro, so episode 2 seems to have been an outlier. Nevertheless, Miss Bliss's class introduces us to the idea that John F. Kennedy Junior High School in Indiana is sorely in need of new supplies.
I'll show you on this map exactly how the state split.
Is it just me? Or was one of the actors not expecting such violence?
How the state split.
But more seriously, folks, fund our schools! In the administrative office, this very topic is being discussed. Mr. Belding stonewalls Tina and Miss Bliss and brings up reclamation forms. Gee, I hope he doesn't get as randy for reclamation forms as he did in episode 2. Belding tries to hand Miss Bliss her mail, but only succeeds in revealing the goofy faculty plot for the episode.
Miss Bliss, your mail. Trump Hill Academy, they got 2 of our teachers last year. Well, they are not going to get Miss Bliss.
With Belding resolved to play up this clear misunderstanding, let's meet Mr. Morton, the science teacher. I absolutely love this guy. He is over the top, and it is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, they're alive.
Only temporarily, my dear.
Mr. Morton informs the class that they will be dissecting frogs the next day. Nikki hates this.
A word to the wise. White is not a good color to wear tomorrow.
And does it even need to be pointed out that Mr. Morton's classroom is just Miss Bliss's pointed the other way? I mean, we've got the maps, the PA, the flag, the closet, and the picture of this guy. Mr. Morton's room faces the opposite direction, but still boasts the maps, PA, flag, closet, though it has this sign on it, and oddly enough, the picture of this guy. And is this Slim Pickens riding the bomb?
Slim Pickens, well, he does the right thing, and he rides up on the hill, yeah, he rides up on the hill.
It's probably too grainy to really know. Anyway, we get to the cafeteria and get attacked by a persistent boom mic.
Sonic boom!
So, Morton, have you filled out your requisition forms?
And we're back to the requisition forms, and Belding does seem, excited about filling one. Over in the student section, Nikki is up in arms about dissecting frogs and asks her friends to sign a petition so as to end this barbaric practice of frogicide. Nobody wants to support her premature Jesse Spano impression. No, instead we'll just look to the background and cheer on this guy as he tries to barely function. Come on, guy! Upon hearing Nikki's concerns, Miss Bliss walks in on Mr. Morton continuing to be awesome.
Cup of noodles.
She asks him if Nikki must dissect a frog, and Mr. Morton explains that she will fail the class if she doesn't. Miss Bliss breaks the news to Nikki, who then asks for some guidance. Miss Bliss recommends that Nikki and so she does. Later that day, the students are in Miss Bliss's history class again. Really? It seems this scene exists for 3 reasons. First, to have Miss Bliss called to the principal's office immediately. I'm not sure why it had to be immediately. The class ends a minute later. Second, to show how absurd it would be if Zach were in charge. And then third, to set up the TV trope of the class seemingly just starting something important, like a history test, only to have the bell ring a minute later. Television. In the office, Miss Bliss learns that Nikki has followed her heart by releasing Mr. Morton's frogs into the wild. Mr. Belding, still believing he could lose Miss Bliss to a rival school, lets Nikki off without any punishment. This enrages both Mr. Morton and Nikki. And who's moving off camera? Later, Milo delivers more supplies to Miss Bliss.
What do you have on Belding? Revealing photos?
Actually, she kinda does.
Now, as I recall, you received a very nice slide projector 3 years ago.
I did, and I appreciate it. There's a slide of you and Mrs. Belding at Club Med jammed in it.
And after getting yet more supplies, Miss Bliss knows something's up. And I love here how Milo is just low-key flexing on everybody. The dude is just nonchalantly walking around with a box of encyclopedias. Do you know how much that box weighs? Milo's effing swole, bro. Out in the halls, Nikki finds that she is alone in her principal's. She later pays a visit to Miss Bliss, who has a possible solution. Technology! Back at school, Miss Bliss finally learns why Mr. Belding has been so nice to her. It's that blasted Trump Hill Academy.
They're trying to woo you away from me.
Woo?
Yes, woo. They wooed away 2 teachers last year, and I wasn't going to let them woo you too.
Yikes. The misunderstanding is cleared up, and Miss Bliss is asked to see Mr. Morton. Well, what's the deal in here? Well, Nikki, despite having a technological out from the live dissections, still decides to run off with the new batch of frogs. She returns them, however, for reasons. She has learned her lesson and will now respect the rights of others.
And if I don't, I'm no different than the things I'm against.
Nikki, I'm sure Mr. Morton can't argue with that.
I'm a man of science. I can argue with anything.
Yeah! I don't even care that there's 30 seconds left to the episode. It ends here for me. This is the episode we've been waiting for. The plot is still goofy and gimmicky, but we get less filler and more solid person-to-person interactions. And that Mr. Morton, what a stud! In fact, I became a bit obsessed with our guest star, Daryl Carroll, and I did a separate deep dive into his filmography. There isn't much to it, but it was fascinating. Here are snippets from every appearance of his that I could find, spanning from the delightful Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, to the stupid Pamela Anderson vehicle, Naked Souls, and all the TV appearances around them. Daryl Carroll is probably best known in the entertainment industry as an acting coach, having recently resigned his position at the Ivana Chubbuck studio in Los Angeles. Daryl also was a member of the illustrious Groundlings, an acting and comedy troupe that introduced the world to actors like Paul Rubens, the Pee Wee Herman guy, Will Ferrell, and Kristen Wiig. The connections he made in Hollywood garnered a few on-screen roles, but nothing compared to his role on Good Morning, Miss Bliss, where, as I've noted, he was absolutely amazing. I don't know what my draw is to this man. Is it the eyebrow movements? The way he sinks into his own neck? His oddly soothing, deep voice? Those pasty legs? It's probably the pasty legs. I don't think anyone could argue with that.
I'm a man of science. I can argue with anything.
He got me. Oh, he got me.
They wooed away 2 teachers last year, and I wasn't going to let them woo you too.